Uh-huh. Oh, it says slow mode is on. Send a
Here we
message
are.
every 1 minute.
Here we are. Yes. Okay, good. Hello. Hello. Here we are. Sabine Choucair is with me here with John Davison as part of the Cloud Congress 2023 online program. And
Oh, it says slow mode is on. Send a
here we
message
are.
every 1 minute.
Oh, I'm getting feedback on myself. Good. Oh, here's my technical abilities. Okay, so we are here meeting on a Zoom meeting, and this is broadcasting live on YouTube. So I've just sorted that out. So yeah, it's part of the online program for the purposes of discussion for those who can't attend in person and for issues and things which we can do better online. So thanks so much for taking the time to be with us here today, Sabine. Um, let's start.
Thank you. I
Oh,
mean,
I mean, please.
I mean,
Uh, let's start. So, some people watching and listening will know you and will have worked with you, I think, and some people won't. So, could you just give us a brief introduction to what you do and who you are?
I'm Sabine Choucair. I'm Lebanese American. And I'm a humanitarian clown. I've been doing humanitarian clowning for more than 15 years, I think, as a full-time job. So I've been basically to many different zones of crisis and war and different kinds of crisis, using clowning as a form of um, psychosocial support, and like a different way of being with people and communities. I have a I started a clown group in Lebanon. Actually, we started it with Gabriela Munoz in Mexico, and then I moved back to Lebanon and started the team there. And we started as 4 people in Lebanon, and now we're a group of more than 30 clowns and performers and people working at the office. And we do a lot of what we call edutainment, so education through entertainment. And we do big street productions, and we turn communities into open spaces where people can come together and play and perform and have fun and experience each other in a different way. And let's see, I'm part of Clowns Without Borders, so we travel around the world and we perform in crisis zones. And I just moved to Turkey last year, and I've been in Turkey, Istanbul, for the past year, mainly working in the earthquake zone, where the earthquake happened.
Mm. And is that the
So,
work there in Turkey, is that like starting all over again, or had you worked in Turkey before, or?
no, I hadn't worked in Turkey before, but when I moved here, there was a guy who worked with Plans Without Borders, Güray Binjol, and we just met, and then the earthquake happened. So the first thing we did is 3 weeks after the earthquake, we went on a Clowns Without Borders Sweden and Clown Me In tour in Turkey, and then after that we thought it's about, like, we need to have a team, a local team, because then we can act faster, we can be more active, we can do more things. So we got support from Plans Without Borders UK, and we formed a group of 12 people that we gave workshops to, and then we went 2 times to the earthquake zone, and then one tour. I mean, one big tour, like 2 big tours in the earthquake zone and one in Istanbul. And now we have a team of 12 people in Istanbul as well, 12 clowns.
Mm. And what was it like for you to leave Lebanon?
I mean, I like it's leaving Lebanon, but it's also not leaving Lebanon, because Istanbul is like an hour and a half away by plane. it's actually it takes me more time to get to the airport than to get from the airport to Lebanon, which is, welcome to Istanbul. So I keep going back and forth. And also, in a way, the team in Lebanon, we've been doing this work for such a long time. So the team in Lebanon is great in like dividing tasks and doing all the keeping on the projects as much as we can because of the situation, of course, but keeping the projects going. So, and we're trying to find different ways to even do more projects and keep doing what we're doing, and at the same time managing Istanbul.
Mm. And what other recent projects have you been involved in? Very recent.
I just came back from Greece. So we were on a Clowns Without Borders climbing tour in Greece. We went to Athens, Thessaloniki, and Ioannina, where refugees are still there, and they've been there. Some have been there forever. I mean, not counting the years anymore, and some are mostly newer, mostly after the Taliban took over the Afghanistan again. So a lot of Afghanis were there. Many Afghanis, some Iranians, some Iraqis are like new. They arrived newly to Greece, but we really focused on Athens and Thessaloniki, and we didn't go to the islands because we heard that not so many things are happening there. And the government of Greece is banning anyone to get into camps. So you have to be a registered Greek organization to be able to go into the camps. So it was like more difficult to manage shows and manage ways to get to our audience. But then, for us, it was the main reason why we wanted to go. Like, we wanted to take this challenge, and we wanted to reach these people that nobody or very few people are being able to reach. So that was actually amazing, really great. I mean, we went to some camps where, of course, again, we were performing outside of the camp in like big parking spots, and in one camp they kicked us out, and so on, like the same stories all over the world. But yeah, in many of these camps, we heard the same thing of like, oh, it's been so long, we haven't laughed this much. We don't get to do this, or we don't get to see such things living here or being here. So yeah.
Is that similar in those different kinds of contexts you've worked in? You've got refugees in Greece, or you've got victims of the earthquake in Turkey, or refugees in Lebanon from Palestine, I don't know, or people in Beirut who,
yeah.
the situation was so bad. I don't know what's happening now in Beirut, but last time we spoke, I think, so are those all the same situation from your point? No, of course not.
Of course not. No.
No.
I mean, it's so different, and it's like we always say on these tours, we're so ready for everything and for anything at any time. So, for example, during the earthquake tours, because I mean, we've done I've done more than 7 tours there. It's very different because it's everything is collapsed. Like there's nothing, and there are people in camps, but we could enter anywhere. We could go anywhere. We were doing 6 to 8 shows per day every time we were there for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 days. That was the maximum that we could take emotionally and physically. But it was like non-stop shows because people were all over. The number of people is beyond what you can imagine. And yeah, so we had access to go everywhere. And then, of course, you have different cases, like in Turkey. You have even in camps or in tented areas or in containers. Now they moved many of the people of the populations from tents to containers because it's going to be colder, and the situation like people are either not going back to their houses or homes because they're afraid or they don't trust the government. So they're still in the same situation actually as they were in February, to like sadly when the earthquake happened. But also being in that situation, you could see that, for example, there's a segregation. They put the Syrians in one part, the Kurds in another part, the Turks who spoke Arabic in one part, the Turks in another different part, and they're all segregated. Of course, you have the government who won't sometimes will come, and there are some camps for the government, and they would tell you, oh, you can't enter because you have to have a permit. But then they see our show and they're like, okay, you can enter to all camps. So in Turkey, it was like easier to access places. In Greece, it's a non-ending story. In Greece in 2014, I've been going every year, mostly except during Corona, and it was really, really open. And then 2016, I think, was the start of when they started when they decided they don't want everybody to enter the camps, and then it went downhill from there. And this year, it was like very, very hard. So it really depends where we are. In Lebanon, we have access everywhere. We can go everywhere. Also, it's our country, so we know, like in the Palestinian camps, we work with organizations there. We have friends inside the camps. Same for the Syrian camps. So it's very different. So we have access to go everywhere. And then we do a lot of work on the streets, and they give us permits to do stuff on the streets because we're clowns. I mean, what can we do?
So, right. So you don't have any kind of limits there at home, back in Lebanon?
No, not
Really?
really. Not really. I mean, maybe like lately in some places, but I wouldn't say that like
Right.
it's easy. Yeah.
What about, have you been in Lebanon in the last 2 weeks, or what about your team back there? Have they been doing anything
No,
at
no,
home?
we haven't. We actually, I mean, I guess everybody knows about the war that is happening now in Palestine and on Gaza. And I mean, it's not a war, it's a genocide. And for us, Palestine is like it's like our country as well. So it's very close to our heart. It's who we are, and we decided as a team to freeze all of our projects. I mean, we had a project where we were going to take giant puppets on the streets and have conversations with people, but we also felt like with all these people dying in Gaza and in the West Bank and on the borders of Lebanon and the occupied land, this is like it's kind of impossible. But we can't do that. And I guess most of the team is also feeling very, very down. Like we're not there. Like none of us is really sleeping or being able to function. And I guess it's not the first time that this thing happened to us. I mean, in the 2020 explosion in Beirut, all of us were in a very terrible conditions and situation. But then after a week, maybe we gathered ourselves, and we used clowning to heal each other, and then later we went on to the streets. For this now, with what's happening in Gaza, it's beyond, like, the death toll is beyond the ethnic cleansing that is happening, the international, like everything I can't, I mean, if I start speaking, I won't
Hey,
stop,
that's what you're
but
here
I guess
for.
it's, yeah.
What we're here for.
Um, but I guess all of this is just for us, it's like for now, our priority is to, you know, to make sure that this stops. I don't know how. But it's very hard to think about anything else or to be able to do anything else. So the
Mm.
team is in this situation, and I know that tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, maybe sometime next week, they'll try to gather and to have a like a rehearsal. We train every week as a team, and
Mm.
so they'll try to meet and do something, and we'll see
All
what
right.
comes up.
Yeah. What would that? Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that with the explosion in Beirut, is it 2 years
Mhm.
ago now? Is it 2 years?
Three,
3 years ago.
2020. It was August 2020.
Right. So, and but you met in order, you know, the clowning perhaps together helped
Helped
you get through it.
us.
How did that? How?
Yeah, I mean, because you know, when you're alone at home and you have all this trauma, and I mean, the explosion for us was very traumatic because of the the explosion itself, and because of the PTSD that we all have from the war and yeah, wartime. So us meeting and just playing together, we met, we played, so we laughed, so we just gave ourselves the permission to laugh and cry together and to do silly stuff. And we were really like gone back to the state of being children.
Mm.
And you know how children use play to heal and to get over everything and to learn new things. And that's exactly what we did as a team. And I remember like we all felt the same at the same time. Like after the first rehearsals or after the first meeting, we all felt much lighter and we had so much more power to decide what we wanted, what action we wanted to do on the ground. Because the first week after the explosion, our first action, individual actions, were to go and help with cleaning up and helping people, doing the first aid help. And then after a week, we were like, we met, we played, and we were like, okay, I mean, it's good we did this, but we have another tool that we use and that we should use. And a big question that we asked ourselves was, is it the right time? Like people are grieving um and they're, yeah, I mean, like Beirut was so gray and so dim and so sad and angry and the whole thing. And we really asked ourselves, like, how would it be to have clowns going in this situation? But then we were like, well, if clowning did this to us after a week, then why wouldn't it have the same effect on people? And that was the reality that happened, because when we went and started performing and being on the streets as clowns, like the whole, because I mean, we had amazing feedback um, from people who were watching and who got really like positively affected by the shows that we were doing, or just by just having us playing music and
Mm.
celebrating within all of this,
Mm.
which is something that now again I gotta say we're not ready to do, because in Gaza, like it's ongoing,
Yeah. It's not
and
just one
it's
event, is it, that happened and
no,
now let's get over it.
no, it's and we're not that, like this is not the time for clowns to be anywhere but to be like, you know, talking about Palestine, talking about this genocide, talking about what's happening. Last night Israel cut internet and mobile phones and all types of communication, and it was like the hardest night
Yeah.
on Gaza. Like
Yeah. I know. I know. So there's lots of things you can't do as clowns. I But there's still things we can do as humans. I mean, did you know where the line is, or you just feel that right now? Well,
Yeah,
as
I think it's
clowns,
like, yeah, it's like case by case, you know. I mean, I remember one time in 2014 we were in Greece
mm,
and in Lesbos, in one of the islands where a lot of refugees were coming every night. Like, I think 7,000 people were arriving every night. And one of those nights, a boat capsized and it had 400 people on it, and 100 people died.
mm,
Um, and you know, that first night we went as clowns to the shores, but we went as human beings, as people, just not
yeah,
as
of
clowns.
course,
Not that clowns are not human beings. Let's
yeah,
be clear.
yeah,
We agree. Um,
mhm,
but we went and we were there just helping. Like I was helping translating. Luz and Clay. Clay Amazing were there, like helping. Clay was playing some music, like really little music to kids who were arriving on the shore and were like terribly miserable. And then Luz was helping, giving out clothes and stuff. Luz, the other clown. And then the second day, we were like, well, what do we do? Do we perform?
mm,
Like, what do you do on the following day when people are mourning? Um, and we drove and then we stopped, I remember, by one of the camps. And then the volunteers there, they said, oh, the clowns are here. Please come and perform. And we're like, what? You want us to perform? Like, aren't people mourning and they need time? And then they said, no, we all need a break from this misery all around us. And so we spent the whole day performing, and people just like needed it and felt like felt that it was the right thing to do. So it's really depending. It's like case by case. We
mm,
feel it, people feel it, and
yeah,
then it's a give and take. It's a give and take.
yeah,
It's
which is
same for, yeah, I mean, same for what I forgot to mention is that we also were very political in Clown Mien. Like we go to a lot of protests as clowns. So we do a lot of political activism through clowning, and it's the same with political activism we do. Sometimes we feel like it's not the right time or space to go as clowns to this
mm.
protest, and it's
when d
not going to help.
when does it feel it does help and it doesn't? I know, absolutely, it's case by case, but
It's case by case, really. It's
yeah,
case by case.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's really case by case.
mhm,
I can't
yeah,
say like this is right and this is
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah. Right, and right now it's not. No, it's a no.
Right now, it's like it's too big of a disaster and
Yeah,
misery that
yeah.
um yeah.
Mm. Um, yeah. So I
And
was
also it's also it's and I mean, of course it's happening in Gaza, and we have partners in Gaza we do projects with that we lost complete uh, communication with, so we don't know
right
where they are, what's
from
happening to
yesterday
them from
or
yesterday
previously.
and from before as well.
Yeah.
So
Is there communication today or it's still cut?
no, it's still cut.
Still cut.
Yeah, very few have communication. What I understood, some people who have like Egyptian phones, or I mean that basically the Israelis cut the Palestinian networks.
Yeah.
So whoever has networks that are not from Palestine, then maybe they still have connection, but maybe they don't have electricity. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
It's no electricity. So yeah.
um and but also, I mean, the situation in the south of Lebanon is also I mean, everybody's just waiting to see if a big war is gonna
Yeah.
happen or not. So
Yeah.
clowning is a bit not quite right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, I think it was on one of your social media posts yesterday. It was something about the Swedish Clowns Without Border project in Gaza. Was
Yes,
what's happening
yes.
there?
Uh, so with Clowns Without Borders, Sweden, we have this project between CWB Sweden, Clown Me In, and one organization, Al Balad in Jordan, and one organization in Yemen, Fanninhum, and three organizations in Palestine. Two of them are in the West Bank and one in Gaza. And in Gaza, we have 12 people. And we do 12 members. And actually, the project is quite big. We've been doing it since 2017.
Mhm.
And we do psychosocial support. We work with groups of women and teenagers. So basically, our job is to train people to be able to do that. So we have a team, 12 people in Gaza who give these workshops or these psychosocial support sessions to groups of people, and they've been doing an amazing job. And you can imagine how much it's needed now, or it's going to be needed when this thing ends, if it ends. But then, so the Swedish government, who is one of the main funders of this project, told Clowns Without Borders Sweden that they cannot use the money anymore that is dedicated for Gaza.
Yeah, that's what I understood from the press. I mean,
And it's like, oh yeah, of course, it's not only, I mean, of course, it's not only Israel bombing and doing the ethnic cleansing, but it's also the European countries, the USA, everybody is, the UK, like everybody
yeah,
is part of this big, I don't know what to call it anymore.
yeah. What is it? What's going on? I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can't, I don't know how to explain it either. From the UK, I don't understand why, or why our government, even a bad government that we have would be expected to behave a little bit with some humanity, but yeah, it's really hard to understand. Uh,
it's
um,
very hard. It's very hard to understand how people are seeing, like how people are, like what is happening, the amount of bombing, the use of phosphorus, the like nobody, no, it's not that nobody is saying anything, it's actually they're supporting it, they're supporting the genocide, they're supporting what is happening right now, which is unbelievable.
yeah,
Like
and,
the governments have gone, I mean, I
yeah,
don't know.
and
And I
blocking calls for ceasefire, which is the minimum that, yeah, it makes no sense to me.
no, no. And also like the whole media is not helping. The Western media is, I mean, is doing a crappy job in just showing one side of the story. Also in the writing, they go, Israelis were killed, but then they say Palestinian died. Like, oh, really? How did they die? Did they have a heart attack or something? Like,
Mhm.
what is like the words they're using? The first question they ask, do you condemn Hamas for whatever happened on, for what happened on, not whatever, of course we know what happened, but for what happened on the 7th, like without an ounce of respect for like the human beings who have been like tortured and being, who have been living under the occupation for since forever, for like the past 75 years.
Yeah,
Like, wow,
yeah,
humanity, where are you?
yeah, as if this suddenly just happened to happen, and
Happened.
some
Oh,
people did a
oh,
bad thing, and nothing bad happened
oh.
before that. Yeah, yeah. How's it?
But
Hmm,
mm,
go on,
sorry, go ahead.
go on.
Mm. No, but I feel like there's a lot also of people, like put the governments aside, but a lot of people are on the streets protesting, saying no to this. But then,
Yeah, we've seen that before.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm. Um, yeah. So I think you here at the Clown Congress we started today and we were looking at different things and you know there's been I've heard some discussions about the situation in Gaza and the war and so on, but we haven't addressed it directly yet. Um, uh, is Yeah, this is a really strange question. It might be really I'm not going to answer that. Uh, what would you say to people? Here we are in the UK, we're concerned. What can we do? What can
I
yeah,
mean, I think for now, what we can do as people is first keep talking about Palestine, about what's happening. Keep maybe also like not go to the not believe the mainstream media that is showing like one side of the story only, again using all these words and ways of talking about what is happening. Also um like saying out loud that this is not a war. It is not two armies, or it is not Israel, the Israeli army versus the Hamas army. It's actually a genocide happening on people. Um, and that's really important also to like keep it like keep this
yeah,
um and just asking our governments to and your governments and
yeah.
everybody to stop this genocide and to have a ceasefire. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Hmm. What does it feel like from Turkey? What's the general
I
feeling?
mean, I mean, Turkey, it's like also like people, I mean, also the government here, they already, um, I mean, I think Erdogan did say it's a genocide and blah, blah, blah. But also people are like, they all agree that this is a genocide that is happening. And today there was a big protest for Gaza.
Hmm.
Uh, but of course, in Turkey, you cannot do anything that big, you know. It's a funny
Yeah.
country like that. It's like,
Okay.
25 women go and protest about women's rights, and then you have 100 people from the army just standing there as if, it's gonna be. So it's not a big
Yeah.
place for this kind of work.
Right. But where is? I mean, in the UK, we have a government that's trying to was telling the police last week, why didn't you arrest people who were saying, you know, the slogan about Palestinian freedom from the river to the sea? They wanted to kind of ban that phrase, and what I mean, nothing, no one was arrested for saying that,
Yeah.
but yeah, so where it's not that different, really. I mean,
Yeah.
different degree, but yeah,
And I mean, I feel like in these kind of protests, I mean, clowns can be there. I mean, that's maybe I think it was with Robin we were talking. I mean, because Robin was thinking to go with the clowns to a protest. And I said, uh, like how I saw it. I mean, that was my point of view. I suggested, well, maybe the clowns maybe can have a black nose and like instead of a red one, and think about what the clowns want to say, because also you don't want to be like it's clowns in protests. It can be tricky, and people can think that this is disrespectful. Like it's a really fine line between people thinking, oh, this is great, because when it works really well.
hmm.
And when it doesn't, it fails very badly.
Like so people might feel that you're mocking the message or
Yeah,
the right,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Or like people who are some activists might feel like you're interrupting our like serious thing. For example, So it's also like how you are in protest as clowns and what are you doing. I remember one time in Lebanon, we felt it on the spot that it was like, are we like not helping? So then we decided to shift on the spot and just thank people for being there. Like as clowns, thank people who are in the protest, who were
Okay.
in the protest for being there. And that was enough, just like to add a little bit of or make the tension a little bit less, but also be there as a clown and in a positive, fun way. Whereas in
Right.
some other protests, we were much more edgy and with
Mm.
our messages. And it's also again, um, as when it's sometimes when it's far from home, it's easier. And sometimes when it's close to home, it's easier. When it's close to home, sometimes you know really well what to do and how to do it. And but like for us now with the Gaza situation, it's too close to home that also we feel like we can't do it. But maybe you guys can do it because
Yeah.
maybe,
That's for us or whoever to read that situation and well,
yeah.
yeah, this feels good there or doesn't. Yeah. I mean, there's something about clowns that very self-centering, isn't there? It's we become the center of attention and
Mm-hmm.
focus. So I guess it's that useful or you know, yeah,
Yeah.
what happens to clowns in a war situation? Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's up to us to decide. Yeah, I guess I don't know what you think, but these are all decisions for us as human beings, as with our values and our ethics and our, you know, judgment of a situation and our, communication with other people. These are not really clown questions, are they? These are just like it's just common sense. Yeah. So yeah. So the when should clowns go to protests is, as you say, case by case. Depends.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. I just want to mention that if anyone's watching on YouTube, please do. I don't see any written questions there. There is in the chat. You can write some questions if you want. Um, if there are things we haven't covered or things you'd like to know more about, Sabine can maybe answer. So please do that. We'll be on for another 10 minutes or so, I guess. Um, what other questions do I have? Do you have any questions for us at the Clown
I was
Congress?
gonna ask, I was gonna ask, like, what's happening in the Clown Congress?
Okay, what's happening at the Clown Congress? So we started today and we had around 50 people in the room together, which was quite a large number. Last year was a bit smaller. And we've had 4 sessions. We have 4 sessions per day in person. And my brain is a little bit fried from what we've been doing. It's been very intense. And what did we do today? Robin is sat over there. What did we do today, Robin? Oh, multiple me's. So looking at having a distance to yourself and being able to deal with maybe difficult stuff and movement. That was a movement based in internal family systems and clowning. So Saskia brings their therapeutic work together with clowning. Um, I'm getting this information now from Robin. Reflection session from Holly Stoppett about being in the unknown, being not knowing, I mean, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing what to do. Jeremy Linnell have a session on making art or making clown work as a neurodiverse person, but not necessarily, on the well, everything, as Jeremy said, everything I make is neurodiverse because I am. I don't have to make it about this identity, yeah. And what else did we do? Oh, and then we had some breakout sessions, some discussions, open space sessions on anything anyone wanted to pick up on those sessions or other things to discuss. And yes, as I said earlier, I think there was one on about Palestine, and we haven't had time yet to sort of convene
mm,
back and see what people were discovering. But everyone's the idea is that we're documenting everything different ways. People are note taking, photographing, videoing, journaling, and hopefully we'll we'll we'll, we'll learn something. Um, and there's this big question about these questions about, well, who clowns, so about identity, who gets to clown, who gets access to clowning, who gets to see it, um, who gets represented, who's it for, what's it for. Um, so, in the case of your work, Sabine, I think it's, you've told us all those things in what you've been talking about. Maybe where we are, it's not so clear for us sometimes, what's the
mm.
importance? What are we doing it for? Um, yeah. So that's all that. And then tomorrow we've got some sessions on discomfort and comfort. And it all sounds, no, I'm talking about it, just sounds like, oh, well, I mean, of course we continue doing the clowning and questioning ourselves, but with what's happening in reality in the world, it's like, but there is that question. There is that as well, I think, in the room. It's like, well, we're still continuing to do all this stuff, but is that what we should be doing? Well, of course we
I
have to,
mean,
but
I
ah,
mean, like, but that's also a question I asked myself like a ton of times when I was in Greece, because I was in Greece and the whole um the whole thing in Gaza started, and I was like, is that what I should be doing? Like clowning and like, but then to be honest, I just felt like, you know what? If I was not clowning on those days, like clowning in a way saved me from just getting completely depressed or like so closed and so and also in a way like life is going on, like
yeah, it's always
we
going on. Yeah.
it's always going on. So if we can be productive and be like you guys all together discussing this and playing together, I mean that's also important. It's hard, it's easier to say than to feel, because I know I've been there like recently. But I also in perspective, like I'm like, oh, I wish I'm still clowning now instead of just being at home trying to work in front of the computer, because I'm not doing anything except just watching the news and
Ah.
um um but yeah, it's good. You never know what comes out from these discussions. But are you planning any action or no? Like action, any kind of action. Like do you in the Congress, like do you want to try to do something as clowns all together on the streets or no?
We haven't planned that in, but it's always we always have an open space session each day, each of the 3 days. And there's no reason why people can't propose that and do it.
Mm,
Um, yeah, that's good. So anyone watching here, I know quite a few people that have been there today are watching this now, or they're going to watch it later. So yeah, there's no reason why not. I mean, the big question for us, the whole point of doing the Congress and last year was, what are we doing now? What is clowning now? What should we be doing, and what do we want to be doing? One of the sessions today, Jeremy's, was particularly on that. Should for Jeremy, it was about, well, I don't really want to be putting my own trauma into my work. I want to make the do the performances I want to do, and then maybe I don't want to put all that stuff into it. So yeah, so there's no reason why we can't go out and do that, or I don't know, or so it's an open-ended thing. So
it's
the whole
actually a
point.
question. Yeah, sorry, it's a question I'm asking because one of the uh Clown Me In members, like one of the first members of Clownian is actually in the Congress right now, watching, being there with you guys.
Ah, yes,
Uh,
yes.
Sally,
Yes,
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 and
Sally's there. Yes, of
yeah,
course.
and she asked me like, "Oh, are they going to do something in the Congress?" And I was like, "I don't know. This is the
Well,
second year I plan to attend, and I don't
yeah,
manage to." But
yeah. Well, yes, exactly. Yes. Well, I guess we are. We're moving that way already, aren't we? This is becoming a thing. So yeah, either Sally or myself or someone else tomorrow is likely going to be speaking about this. So, um, yeah, somebody asked me just before coming here, are you going to, issue a statement of support and my first question was, oh, I didn't, oh, we weren't planning to make, oh, is that what it's for? I thought, well, I think it's kind of inevitable that we would, because, the people that we are, in the place that we are, um, yeah, that's what we're feeling, and that's what we're thinking. There's a lot, I have to say, in the UK. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about not how, yeah, almost how much we can say, and there's so much. It's really hard to describe why it's like that. Um, there's such a strong, from some parts of society, saying, "Oh, well, you can't say that," or "You can't show support for Palestine, because that's harming someone else," or and it's. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, it's. I think in this country there's quite a lot of that. Maybe less so in other parts of Europe that
No, no, I mean it's all over. Like they
yeah,
think if you show support for Palestine, then you're anti-Semitic. What's the word? Sorry.
it's great that
Uh,
you don't pronounce it properly. Sorry, that's really weird. Yeah, because it's
like come on.
on.
We're not like read a book or just educate yourself. Yeah, no, but also like maybe it doesn't have to be about this. I mean, I don't know. It's just nice to have 50 people. I would think in in the same place
Yeah.
thinking about clowning and then saying, that's interesting, let's go try it. I feel like we've learned as a group, as clowning, and we've learned so much from how much we tried on the streets.
Mm.
um and I mean we've been trying. I mean we tried so many things, from like standing on traffic lights and doing the you stop on red, and because we didn't have this before in Lebanon, to like littering, to protests, to and then this whole like every step of going on the streets taught us like one new thing. And it's just interesting to have 50 people interested in this and then trying something. And then,
Yeah.
if they fail, that's what we do. We fail, so it's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, and people that will know with the response. So that's what we do exactly. Clowns, as we do things, and then people who see it, they respond, and then we respond back, and that's
yeah.
all we do, right? So, um,
Sorry, John. I got a question from Tiff on my WhatsApp because he said he can't get to YouTube comments. He can't get YouTube comments to work.
oh,
So
maybe it's
he's
not work.
asking
Oh, what's the question? Yeah, sorry.
he's asking when did you personally realize clowning could be a humanitarian tool? Oh, cool.
Okay.
um, I think I realized it pretty soon, pretty early in the process. I was studying at CLISPA, London International School of Performing Arts, um, and Giovanni Fusetti was my clown teacher.
Hmm.
Uh, and I had no idea about clowning. Like, I've never seen a clown outside a clown party, or not even a clown party. Clowning wasn't never a thing in Lebanon, all my upbringing. I mean, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a thing at all. So, like, getting introduced to the world of clowning, I was amazed. And then the effect it did on me personally to find my clown and to find playfulness, and to play with uh, I mean, my clown was very army-like and very um, like it felt like my clown had all the war uh, and everything that the war affected had like everything that affected me during the war was there in my clown. But this switch where I really something switched and my clown became so funny, like to me, like I would do something and it would crack me up. Uh, and then I became the biggest joke of myself. And this switch was just amazing. And this is exactly when I felt like, damn, this is what I want to do in my life. Like, I want to stop everything else. I was a TV host and I had a very different life. I was an actress and blah, blah, blah. And I
Oh,
was like, no way. This is all like BS. I'm just going to focus on clowning. And because of the effect it had on me, I realized then that I just want to do it with people and for people. And I don't want to do it in closed theaters. And I just want to do it for humanitarian cause. And I had no idea that Clowns Without Borders existed. So even when I started Clown Me in Mexico with Gabby, I had no idea that this was a thing. I mean, I was completely naive and uneducated about anything that has to do with clowning. And then things started uh, to reveal themselves. And then I read a bit, and I read some of your books, John, and then
come on. No,
oh yeah,
no,
I have
no,
them
no.
all. No, but
You
like
still,
seriously, I mean, I really
yeah.
had no idea. But it all like it was all like it started back then with Giovanni, and then I wanted to do Clown Me In because I wanted to work with people, and then I started discovering things, and then I discovered that Clowns Without Borders are doing the same thing. Oh, and then there's the Flying Seagull. Oh, and there's the Red Nose International, and blah blah blah. I was like, wow, great.
Do you still have that feeling when you began? Does you still have the same kind of feeling, do you think, or it's changed, or
The feeling of what the
when you were saying about the clowning, is it, oh, all right,
Oh
this
my
is what I
God,
want to
every
do
day, every time. I
every
mean,
day, all the time.
every time. I mean, that's what's amazing about it. It's like every time I perform and every time I go to any community, I leave feeling the same.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's why you're supposed to, yeah, that's why you're so good at it, right?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, of
It's
course, of
it's
course.
great. I mean, for me, um it's like the best part is this amazing connection with people that we get through clowning.
Right.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
it's out of
And
this world.
I guess from, that, you don't know what someone else is really going through. Well, you sense it, an audience or the kids to see it or your team members, but everyone is having that experience, right? It's not just like, oh,
Oh, for
uh,
sure.
I have such a great experience being a clown. It is so good for me. It's everyone who's involved, right?
But it's good for me because I can see that I can feel it from the audience or from the people I interact with that it's so good for them. I
Right.
mean, it's you feel it. There's like this openness, this very free, open space that is like a free channel between you and whoever is in front of you.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing.
Mm, yeah.
Sabine, thank you so much. I think we need to
Thank you.
wrap it up. Yeah, I just really appreciate it. It was very short notice as well. And thanks for spending
No,
time.
thanks for
Yes.
thinking to talk to me, and I hope next year I'll be there in person. Every year I say the same.
Every year. Because this has a history, because you and I and Robin and Hilary Ramsden, who was
exactly.
an organizer last year. We spent all that time on Zoom, didn't we, during COVID times, and doing clowning and wondering about politics and stuff. And yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
so you are a big part of this Congress because you are part of that, that when we were thinking about what should we do with this.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a
And
lot.
I wish you so, yeah, so many good wishes and yeah, and solidarity from here from everyone at the Congress. And if you think we can do anything that we're not doing and you want to tell us, hey, why aren't you doing this? Then just, tell us.
Right.
Uh,
Well, thank you. I'll let you know, guys, and I'll keep following your news.
yeah. Okay, Sabine. All the best to you.
Okay.
All
To
right.
you too.
Thanks again.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
bye.